Inside the Museum of Revolution, a mud of world officials crowded into an auditorium. The strongest, most influential warriors entered wearing their land's emblem and the contemporary draping silk fabric custom for combat. Scientists entered wearing their signature lab coats. Analysts entered wearing suits, along with inventors who dressed leisurely. Many important figures were in this auditorium, including Cal and Falcon, the leaders of Libertarian and Allure, respectively. Rotan peeked behind the satin curtains, out onto the crowd. More than half the seats are empty, he thought, while he continued his prowl of the audience. I don't see her, he ruminated. Rotan, it's time, the showrunner said. He walked while the silk, muddy, sand-colored fabric from his clothing followed him. He kissed the sun emblem that hung from his chest, held by a diamond necklace. Then he habitually fixed his diamond-framed glasses. He stood at the podium in front of the crowd. It's only about 200 people. I invited all the world advocates and leaders. That's roughly 700 people. Where is everyone else? That damn Rotan. He just can't let the past be the past, Cal said, irritated while he spectated from the audience. You can't blame him. Sin's war. It left a lot of destruction, physically and mentally. The world right now doesn't trust in the Estelles. Better yet, the Panta-Estelles. He's just trying to do what the sages would have done once upon a time, Falcon retorted. Yes, I understand. But his approach is, how can I say it, a bit aggressive. Sin's war lasted 10 years. It has only been 3 since he ended it. I know, but he did end it. And the world owes him. It's quite alarming that the others did not show. Well, Rotan walked onto the stage and began to address the world. He spoke to his fellow contemporaries about what the Estelles truly meant. The Estelles were the source of energy for everything living on the planet. They granted them life and wisdom. But for those virtues, there is a price to pay. Rotan contested that every man on Kismet was obligated to protect, study, or master the Estelles. While he continued his speech, he spoke on the traditions of the lost cults and sages, honoring them and their customs. The young warrior who defeated Sin in the past war elaborated on the cults and sages' teachings, and how it was their lessons that prepared him to protect the Estelles and value the power that they conceded. Rotan led on about how the planet was now demoralized, how the war vanquished faith in the Panta-Estelles. Rotan rhetorically pleaded for an answer because he could not understand how they let this happen. He evoked words about Ellie, the Panta-Estelle who sacrificed her life in Sin's war. He reminisced on how he arose when she was killed and how he, a warrior, protected the planet by killing Sin with the power of the Estelles, concluding that he would not have been able to do so without mastering the Estelles. Rotan felt the world shouldn't be so quick to lose faith. He said without true masters of the Estelles, there'd be no hope. They must remember what their predecessors taught them and wash the world of Sin's stain. Rotan believed that for a brighter future, they'd have to study their serene past. He asked for them to trust in him, the Panta-Estelles, the shamans, and their ancestors, because he knew they could find a way to restore the cults and the true teachings of the Estelles. While Rotan spoke, some of the audience couldn't heed his words and departed from the conference. He wanted to make sure that everyone who stayed understood his message. He knew the planet was traumatized by Sin's reign. However, he planned to keep his promise and revert Kismet's faith. Kismet's hero not only wanted his peers and neighbors to trust in the Estelles, but also the Panta-Estelles. He planned to restore their legacy as well. To help the world remember the compassion of a Panta-Estelle, he brought out the most recent Panta-Estelle sire, the reincarnation of Vaint and Kin. Sire was 20 years old and did not have much experience as a Panta-Estelle or as a warrior. He was 5 feet and 8 inches and had straight black hair. He wore an orange cotton hoodie, which fit perfectly with the number 10 embroidered onto the chest. His shorts stretched to his knees and were made of a hippo hide. Sire took the podium, More spectators took the exit. The young Panta Astel began to speak, but his words were mince and bombastic. His voice did not carry concern, and his reach was precocious. When he elaborated, recalling the past war, a scientist interrupted him. The scientist believed Sire had no right to be speaking on something he never experienced, even if he was a Panta Astel. Once one spoke out, a second did, then a third, and it was a chemical reaction. It continued until Rotan was forced to walk Sire off stage. The outburst mimicked the social climate. It was clear to Rotan that the world didn't trust the Panta Asteles, and might not for a while. Sin's reign still reeked, and its order felt imperishable. The cults and sages were now extinct. Kismet needed an alternative, in case of another sin. However, despite all that Rotan believed, the world always had a solution with the Panta Asteles, and if there weren't any around, he felt he was strong enough to protect the planet. He felt he owed it to Ellie to reinstate the legacy of the Panta Astels. And he wasn't going to stop trying. The crowd funneled out while Rotan spoke to Sire outside the back entrance of the Museum of Revolution. The two sat on the steps that climbed 4 meters. They were parked closer to the bottom of the incline. They sat and pondered by the pond, while the final sun began to set. Upon the glowing orange horizon was an arid coast of small, 4-meter-tall evergreen trees and half-meter shrubs. While they gaped at the horizon and roasted in the calm breeze, Rotan thanked Sire for attending. Sire whimsically accused Rotan of setting him up to be berated. The Panta Astel confessed he knew the world didn't favor Pana Astels, but he was the new guy. He didn't think they'd turn that fast. Rotan blamed Rhea for not coming. He told Sire that Rhea needed to be there because she fought in the war and owed everyone an apology. Sire questioned her whereabouts, just as curious as his teacher. Suddenly a familiar voice yelled Rotan's name from the top of the mountainous stairs. It was Bal and Falcon. They appeared serious and wanted to speak with him. Rotan urged Sire to return to his scribe, alerting him he'd contact him soon. He proceeded to climb to the 2 capital leaders. Thanks for coming, guys. It's great to know at least half of the capital leaders will show up for me. It's no problem, Rotan. And don't worry about the others. The world is forever grateful to you, Cal endearingly said. It's still no excuse for Moscow and Tiff not to show up, Falcon said. Tiff is still reclaiming lands of Enliven and Moscow. She's tired. Her role as leader is ending, so it's no surprise to me. To be completely honest, she should have retired after my father's death. I guess the world is changing, Rotan sympathetically said while he gazed at the starry night sky. It is. That's what we wanted to talk to you about, Rotan, Cal interjected. Cal's statement suddenly made Rotan anxious. His hunch was right. This was not a typical conversation amongst peers. You have to take it easy with this tour. Tour? What are you talking about? Rotan casually questioned. All these conferences. This is like the 5th one since the war. Give the world affiliates some time. Rotan turned to Falcon, filled with disappointment. You feel this way too? He asked, the bald, one-eyed, menacing man. Falcon's vapid expression was Rotan's answer. I can't believe you guys are folding. Ellie wouldn't want this. If it's what's best for the world, she would, and it is, Falcon responded. How is giving up on restoring the cults and their teachings best for the world? What about giving up on the Panta Astels? I know she wouldn't want that. That's not what's happening here, Rotan. Stop playing dumb. You're Kismet's hero. You can see it just like we can. The planet is more terrified than ever before. Sin, he was just too strong if it wasn't for you and your... I'm still here. What? Cal questioned. I'm the proof of why we can't lose focus. I'm a master of the Astels, Chief Maximus of the Cygnus cult, and of the Triad Sages. If it wasn't for their teachings, the world would be in Sin's hands now. Even with you around, Rotan, it's still difficult to trust warriors. It's possible one day someone can learn what you know and be on the opposing side. If you aren't around, how do we stop them? Cal asked. That is what I am saying. We have to continue to value the Estelles and pass on their teachings. And we will, Falcon said. He took a step closer to Rotan. We just can't place all our focus into reviving the cults. Without the cults and sages, who can we trust to protect the Estelles? Agencies, Cal said. Agencies. Yes, they will be sponsored by lands or individuals who have the resources and are deemed trustworthy. They will consist of warriors who will be on assignments received by their agency HQ. They will still follow the chain of command from the land's legions, which are beginner, intermediate, lieutenant, and general. But the warriors will report to their agency leader or lieutenant. It's a system put in place to provide warriors with resources to become stronger and offer the world an idea on who the strongest are. This is ridiculous. Most of these people don't even have the Estelle's best interest. Yes, the world is scared, and I know it is because of sin, but we can't let one Panta Estelle steer the world down this road. If we turn our back on the Panta Estelles, we turn our back on the past shamans, we turn our back on everything we learned. Rotan, this will give us a way to watch the Panta Estelles and prevent another sin, especially if you are on board, Falcon responded. On board? Rotan asked. We want you to open an agency and continue your teachings and train the next generation of Panta Estelles. The world only trusts you to lead them. Rotan looked at the night sky and stared at the stars. Aloofly, he rebutted no. Cal and Falcon were astonished. I won't be a part of any plan that devalues the Estelles and Panta Estelles. I'm a warrior who will protect the Estelles with my life. Same goes with the Panta Estelles, and if the world can't get that, I'll just go live with the nomads. Rotan stormed away. Have it your way, Rotan. You'll face reality sooner or later, Cal said. I can't believe you two. What would Bal and Ellie think? What did you say? Cal ferociously asked while lunging at Rotan. Falcon reached his arm in front of Cal as a sign of a treaty. Rotan, that's enough. It's time for this to stop. This is happening whether you like it or not. What would Ellie think of you right now? Rotan stared, stunned by the question. His face was bare and his eyes dazed. For everyone to trust in the Estelles and Panta Estelles again, it's going to take time. And the world can't wait. We have to do what's best for everyone, and that is expanding our technical powers and creating agencies for research and fighting, just in case another sin does show up. Sounds awesome. Rotan then vanished. Why does he have to act like that? Cal shouted. He flailed and flipped, ranting. He thinks I want to? Just give up on the cults? Sin wiped them away. Everyone who still follows the ways of the sages is with the nomads now. And what did he expect the world's reaction to be after sin was defeated? Sometimes he's just so delusional, especially when it comes to the Panta Estelles. I still don't know how he brought himself to kill sin if he feels this deep about the reincarnates. It's a bit obsessive. Cal recklessly took a seat on the stairs, and Falcon carefully followed. Give him a break. He's been through a lot. We all have. No one thought Ellie would have died so late in the war. She'd truly become a warrior to be proud of. And Rotan, he adorned her. He had no choice but to kill sin. He wanted to save him desperately but couldn't. Now he probably just wishes he could do it all over again. I know I do, Falcon said as he caressed the scar that replaced his right eye. I'm grateful for Rotan, and because of that, he'll always be a capital warrior as long as I'm leader. I know he's not going to change anyway. I just wish he'd trust us for once. The world doesn't know, but we'll need him soon, along with the Panta Estelles for the new revolution. Tech is stronger, and making many rich and powerful. We'll need real warriors to balance it out. That's true. With Rhea's new research, many might fall under the assumption we no longer need Masters of the Estelles. But we do. Do you think Rhea knows that? Falcon questioned. She's a Panta Estelle, she should. You'd think. But remember, she hid during the war. She watched while Ellie lost her life. She watched the entire world go through despair, and never once revealed herself. Not until Rotan found her. You don't think she redeemed herself? She helped Rotan stop sin, and with this new research, she'll give everyone the ability to become as strong as her, maybe? Way to show your youth. What do you mean? You're only like 10 years older than me. I'm the same age as Rotan. You're both around 29, but I have to say Rotan is wiser. Cal's body became red, his face crumbled, and his ears nearly jumped off his head. What? How? Cal's expression forced a chuckle out of Falcon before he responded. Relax, it's just a joke. Cal reverted to his normal ways. His libertarian thobe glistened with the stars. But partially true, Rotan would never believe that tech can be stronger than the Estelles. Well, whatever happens, we have to protect Rotan, Rhea, and Sire. That I can agree with. Though no matter how wise Rotan is, that won't stop his popularity from plummeting. With the Abysso gaining more and more involvement, we have to stay prepared for the worst, Falcon ominously expressed. Rotan, that guy, he's the world's hero. No one will try to hurt him if they're smart, but his views and his influence will continue to place targets on him. You think Rhea will be able to talk to him? She is a Panta Astelle. Well, first she has to tell Rotan about her new tech, Falcon retorted. Oh, well maybe not, Cal dismally said.